It is 11:56 a.m. on 11/25/2017, so November 25th. Upon waking this morning, I heard 5 tokes over the line said, like said, not sung, even though it's a song, 1 toke over the line. I looked up the history of that song. I heard the Divine Pymander again. So he's always like, remember the Divine Pymander. And is that a saying? Remember it? Like, remember the Divine Pymander. Like, it just sounds like it's something people say. But it's something Hermes tells me. And I guess I'm going to have to read through that sucker again. And because, you know, you grow and then you understand more. Because that's Hermetic. And then I started looking up the Divine Pymander. And then this wonderful poem by Longfellow. And it reminded me of this one poem that someone wrote in the New York Post, I believe, within the past 5 years or so. Maybe it was 6 or 7 years, but it was a good poem too. I saved it somewhere. And then just looking at the internet, like there's so much Hermes stuff. So many people through history have claimed to write for him, to be his scribe. And even in my own little videos that hardly anyone ever sees, I get little notes of, oh, wow, you talk to Hermes too. And, you know, I've for years struggled to find other people who talk to Hermes and have found them. But never have I found anyone who has any kind of relationship with him the way that I do. And those Masons are tight-lipped. It's like they all acknowledge that they know Hermes. God, they don't love him. I don't know about their love for God at all. I know about their ego problems. It's a spiritual calling. There are spiritual callings, and it has nothing to do with, from what I can tell, the goals of Freemasonry at all. From what I can tell means looking at the people who I know who are Masons, their lifestyles, their choices, their moral compass is not Hermetic at all. Not even close. And I know that that's disappointing to us teachers who brought in the teachings in the first place. But I was asking Hermes, you know, how come all these people know you? And he's like, because I'm the walrus, cuckoo. And that's interesting. And I was like, well, Hermes, you've told me that I'm your girl, and I'm your soul wife. And you've led me to believe that in the higher realms, we're already together, and we've been together for a very long time. And only when I come here do I have to forget all of that and be a person. Yet, the older I get, the less person I need to be. I understand that too. But I just felt like he was talking to me, kind of setting me straight. Because I was like, all right, Atlantis, I wasn't there. You told me I wasn't there, and I have no connection to it. It never rang any bells with me. Except for, hey man, that's a really good Donovan song. You know, I was just like, oh, that's part of the New Age. I don't get that. And I always had differentiations because I was raised on the Egyptian mysteries as a teenager. I talked to Isis. I met Isis. She was veiled, and then she unveiled for me. I mean, what potent magic there was at that young age. Potent, very potent, all of it. I mean, just learning how to read tarot cards, and developing a relationship with my God and Goddess, all of that, very potent. And it wasn't until much later, in my perspective, much later, that I actually had conscious contact with Hermes, even though I tried for 7 years to get a hold of him. And I didn't know his name then or any of that. I just knew I had a spirit guide. I knew I had a master spirit guide. Nobody could tell me any different. Like, I literally knew it. And I remember carving in a desk when I was a little kid. I never defaced property, but I did carve in a desk the face of this angel or guide. I never thought of him as an angel, though. I just knew that he was around me. And he looked like Fu Manchu, which was a little spooky because I didn't understand that culture. I didn't understand what a Fu Manchu was. It just was a way out of the way face for me to have in my head. But he was always blonde, like light-haired, but I think that's like a celestial realm kind of thing, not really a hair color. But he always had long, blondish hair, because hair's not real, and a very angular face, so angular that I think that needed to be cartoon-like so that I could retain it as a child. Finer features were lost on me. I needed hard edges and angles to attach to this image, which is the energy of my spirit guide. And Hermes obviously doesn't look like that anymore. He doesn't show up to me like that in a long robe with long blonde hair. All I knew was Master Teacher Guide. I didn't know his name for the longest. And I just said Master Teacher Guide. That's basically what I called him. So from Isis studies as a teenager, I learned that the 4 twins of Egypt were all born out of the same womb. The 4 twins, Isis, Osiris, Set, and Nephthys. Set and Nephthys were married. Isis and Osiris were married. And how do they come in one womb to the earth? Like, who's their mom, right? And we know Ra is the sun, God, Father. And so patriarch, I see Ra as like the grandpa or like that aspect. And then Hermes is like, how do you get 4 kids in a womb like that? Like, don't you think that's some kind of metaphor? I was like, yes, of course. I believe that's some kind of metaphor. And he's like, what about a spaceship? What if I told you they came in a spaceship? I was like, well, that would make a lot more sense. That they came in already grown, knowledgeable, right, of what they were coming here to do as a foursome, as a force, as a foursome. And he's like, very good, foursome, very good. Now, we can take apart, dissect Isis Osiris mysteries because we know them by heart. He crosses his heart. X marks the spot, and that's where the stories are, in the heart, especially looking at it from a Sirian point of view, from Sirius. We see it as a love story. Everything we've ever done with Earth was a love story. All right, for the people, we say, we understand, Isis and Osiris, divine couple, the masculine force of the sun, both of them. Even though Isis, goddess of magic, and has all of her ways, she's dynamic. However, you look behind Isis and you see a Nephthys. And Nephthys is deeper and more shrouded and mysterious than the sunny Isis. And the same for Osiris and Set. Now, Nephthys was always nice. Nephthys didn't hurt anybody. As far as I know, I haven't heard any stories where Nephthys did anything wrong. It's always seemed like a story that Nephthys somehow got stuck with an abusive husband, Set, and Set was just jealous and very man-oriented, very ego-oriented, which would have been weird back then, real weird, but he had to carry out a story, right? Just like Judas, you got to do your part. And so we could say, in psychology terms, easily that Osiris's shadow is Set, and that Isis's shadow is Nephthys. Now we have to look at Set and Nephthys as illnesses, as wrongnesses, to extract the truth. Therefore, Nephthys was too willow-like. She was overly, I don't know what that word is. It's probably too old. You would call it codependent. That's what you would call it. But that's not the word. And yes, it is an arcane word. English language has been a challenge for Hermes. I bet it has. It's so limited. I know you know that, and I know you feel that way. I want to say, like, Eurydice. What a weird word. Okay, I'm going to stop there and look it up. Okay, this is interesting. Just when you think it's safe to go back in the water, Hermes throws you a curveball. Let's see here. Eurydice is a good teacher. And Eurydice was married to Orpheus. And Eurydice came to Kore Persephone. Well, Orpheus did. Well, first she came, right, to Hades. And then Orpheus came and knocked me out with rock and roll because I am Kore Persephone. And got his chick back, at least a chance to have her. So Hermes is teaching me on like 100 different levels right now with this. Okay, and it's hard to wrap my brain around, but that's what he does, is like fills you up with food. And then you got to be like, well, I think I'll eat the strawberries first. Eurydice was the first word I said because he's trying to remind me of the stories that we know in our hearts, that she was taking the underworld and she was in love, and Orpheus was in love with her, and Orpheus came to Kore Persephone and asked, please may I have my woman back, and he played rock and roll for me. I say it's rock and roll because that's how good the music was. I'd never heard anything like it before, and when I woke up in this life, again, I heard this rock and roll. I was like, oh my gosh, wow. The Hermetic teachings aren't always obvious. Hidden out in the open, right? That's why the Masons confuse me so bad, because they use our words but not our intentions. It's a difficulty. Knowing that, first off, okay, strawberries. To know that Nephthys and Set even are supposed characters in a play. Everybody came here with their missions. Everybody came here with their scripts. And on a higher level, it's just a play. It's true. But it's a play that grows the soul and gives us knowledge. He says, I just want you to know that it is scripted and it's for teaching, to be erudite, to teach. And Eurydice is that there's that codependency of, I want to say, true love. He says, you are understanding this. That's her story. That's Nephthys' story, and that is Eurydice Orpheus' story too. And maybe something about Lot's wife, but I'm sure that one was misinterpreted. Too bad, too badly, too horribly to fit it in with this right now without much work. It's a form of stuckness, but there's a lack of faith or trust there. It's interesting. It kind of is that part in the play where the ego takes over and says, what can I do to get what I want or need, because I feel like I want or need this. And it moves the story forward in that way. And that's why we always go first with our left foot, because left foot is the foot of God and right foot is the foot of action, karma. Ego, you could say. Left foot is trust. So putting your best foot forward is really the left foot of trust. So this is to take you back to the 4 aeons of Egypt. These were your archetypes. These are what we came in under. Well, the 4, which are 2 sets of twins, but the twins are really feminine and masculine. That's really the twin. It doesn't, so as opposed to, like, I don't know, like it doesn't matter how many people were in that spaceship. Okay, that's what you're telling me. It's that there were only 4 archetypes in that spaceship, 4 teachings, 4 personalities that we put on to teach. And so the 4 archetypes of Isis, Osiris, Set, and Nephthys. And within that, and you can call it a spaceship, within that mental realm, those 4 aspects were like what we were all playing out in one way or another. Now, understand, yes, we came to Earth to teach, and that indicates that we were coming to teach someone something, doesn't it? So how do souls get to Earth? How do souls incarnate? When was the first incarnation cycle? What makes a human, like the soul coming in through the earth? How did mankind first start being mankind? Yeah. Those are all very big questions and part of this story. Well, he says, let me unfold my heart for you. It is a golden path, 3 paths. I see a path coming from his heart like a stairway down to earth. And then I see a path going to the left and to the right, and just like gold streams and gold streaming staircase to earth. It's like, good. This represents our golden mean, the triple, the threes. The as above, so below, which he points, basically he's indicating the staircase. As above, so below. And he wants you to know, because this is a good point, as above, so below is happening in the sense that your soul is well or ill as above, so it shall be below. So in the higher realms, and even the astral plane of the bardo, if your soul is well, it will be in the higher planes way above the bardo. If your soul is sick, it will be in the bardo, the hell realms. Now understand, samsara itself is a hell realm itself, but it is one that you can choose to go in and out of. It's not on purpose, it is voluntary. On purpose is because you have to, because there's no other path. As above, so below is the song of the soul. As in heaven, so on earth. Interesting. Well, that just clobbers every kind of double agent thing. Yeah, kind of does, he says. Double agents were never that clever because of their hearts. So instead of using double agents, we just control the dark ones to work for the light even when they don't know it, because they don't remember even. It's remote control humans. When they have no light, then they're open to being used. And mostly, of course, those interested in using them are dark energies, because they're feeding. But sometimes we get to grab them by the head and put them in a new direction so that the greater storyline can be brought out to the eventuality that we've all seen. It's like it's reverse engineering the future. Yes, very much so. Reverse engineering the future. When you've seen the end, then you know how it all goes. But obviously, yes, there's room for details and room for errors. Lots of errors. He's like, could you imagine working on the most complicated computer ever in the universe? He's just showing me his frustration, which is funny, because he's funny. He's just like, it's daunting. It's a daunting task. It's difficult. It's more of an art than a science. So of course he would say that. He says, you're such a dear intuitive. You're so dear. Well, you're funny. Taken to the 4 twins, 4 archetypes, and that's how you teach psychology, and that's how you obviously also teach farming, with those 4 in 1, he says. Now remember, the spaceship was 1. Yes. Should we differentiate for these weirdo people that when we talk about spaceships, we don't mean necessarily metal clanging things? He's like, no, we didn't travel that way, and we still don't travel that way. And that's what they don't understand yet. So we're just going to put that ball down because, again, you don't have to give away the farm. Well, what else do you want to know, kid? I guess I don't need to include Atlantis. I mean, I know you saw what happened to Atlantis. You were there in spirit anyway. Thoth wasn't, you're right. But okay. So he's talking about the soul car, the Ka and the Ba that we came here in as the 4, the twins. And he's like, now you have memories of helping Thoth with the blueprints, as you call them, as you so delightfully call them. You always like it, he's telling me. You always like it when you find a small, mundane earth word to describe what you're saying, which is such a greater thing. To put it in a smaller language excites you because you feel like you're bridging the 2 worlds. But blueprint is the closest you can get to what we are calling a city of light. Okay. Blueprint. Light. What is light? And yeah, okay, Hermes. Light is vibration and movement and heat like, it creates, it's Ison-ic. What? That's two words mashed together. So heat, light, energy. Thank you. Energy. Yes. I don't even remember where we were. He's like, because I took you to the end where we were doing the mechanics, and you don't like the mechanics. You like the outcome of the mechanics. You're not a meticulously particular girl in the sciences, as he says, doing rabbit ears sciences. You prefer some of the mysteries to remain mysteries and not see the machinery behind it. You're right. I really do. He's like, you're a girl. Of course. It's just part of your makeup. We like it. But in this world, you don't get the good surprises so much, do you? It's kind of, you're in a hell realm. So we got to be honest and bring things out and show you the wizard behind the curtain and show you the mechanics, because that's the point of a hell realm, is to see the truth through it all. Yes, I suppose that's the new one on me, but okay. Well, he says this is all teaching and this is all learning. So let's go back to the golden roads, okay? The strawberries you're eating. So you know the staircase because you've been on it. The stairway to heaven goes to my heart, Hermes said. And then the left and the right. And what is that? Well, to me, it's the future and the past. He's like, yes, but we're in a realm beyond time. So up in this realm beyond time, what could left and right mean? Masculine and feminine. This is good. He's like, because it's all gold. 1, 2, 3. It's the flux capacitor. Huh. Okay. He's brought this up so many times over the years. Because again, it's mechanical in my view, and that's why I can't ever retain what it means. But I know it's a triple-ocity. Triple velocity? Yes. Triple-ocity, triple velocity. But it's a Trismegistus. Okay, I can't even say Trinity. You won't let me say Trinity. It's like every T word in the world, but not Trinity. Because he's like, because Trinity speaks of one that is three. And this is three that is one. And subtly in language, it makes a difference for some reason. He's like, this left and right is different. So let me try to get this to come through. All I'm getting is like, it's where you've gone and where you're going. And we do them in stages of planes. You can be in one density. Let's say you're incarnated into a density. But that density has many planes. And for the key you're playing on right now on Earth, key, yeah, that you're playing on right now has the 3 veils, which you know about, the trick of the 3 veils. But it has, we could say, 7 densities that change in octaves as they evolve, or as you evolve as a soul. You make your way through learning because you're incarnated and you took on human karma through these planes within the density. There you go. That makes sense. Right. Now up here, we don't have the same gravity rules, even logic. It's not the same. We're a lot less reasonable up here, and we're a lot more imaginative. So up here, we only have where you've been and where you're going. And of course, we do bust through this density as well, what you call heaven, which we blossom beyond this and beyond that and beyond that, and the great beyond. Blossoming is ever happening as we grow. And now you understand that it was not a karmic situation that brought you to Earth. It was love. That's all. You're in this golden line of what's been before and what is to come. And he wants me to remain focused on that and remain focused there, like it's healthy, because it's true. That's why it's healthy. And so he's asking me to integrate that into my current view of my life. And it's something that Guru Devi had intimated to me in a way where she told me, I think it's a Buddhist saying, but look at someone's body to see where they've been. But look into their eyes to see where they're going. And that again has to do with as above, so below. In the eyes, the window to the soul. So we come full circle with that. It's the state of the soul. It's not the state of heaven and the state of earth. It's the state of the soul itself. And he says if you want to get all one-ish about it, he didn't say it that way, but if you want to get to the all one, then it's the world soul, the group soul of the world, the collective consciousness, which is a soul that's connected, or is Gaia. She learns through her creations or creatures, and they learn through her. I mean, it's symbiotic, obviously. Yes, it is. I wish some people would understand that, especially people with a lot of money. Well, they're not symbiotic, are they? They're vultures, parasites. Yeah. It's like, enough of that. That's a lower vibration. He crumpled it up and threw it out like a pile of paper. He says, back up to me, back up to this. So what he says is, you see the future. Well, it's not the future. I got to correct myself. All right. So the right path would represent what you would call the future. True. But it's where you're going. And that's how we want you to think of it. Simple, simple. And then the left would be where you've been. And that's when you look back. That's when you see your existences, your conscious awareness of other realms in which you have lived, in which you currently also still live. Because your memories are living happenings. They're not what you would call a memory. You are multidimensional, and he's trying to cut up the level, like karate chopping. It's some kind of division or separation, so that I don't get all the knowledge of the universe at once and blow up my brain. I know, I know. That's the scariest part. Oh, it's scary. It's like, oh no, I'm going to get hit with this great gnosis and then spontaneously combust. Yay. But we have buffers for that. And he says we're very delicate to jump over those hurdles, basically, and let them be intact, because you don't, like you said, you don't need to know everything at once. And it is too much for a human. And we're compassionate. We understand that. So it's just like a techno fear of the high priestess. Like, I'll know too much. Where you've been. And then he's like, well, the staircase. And then where you're going. And the staircase, the staircase, the staircase. Can we get you to see the staircase as just a golden stream of light that you can walk upon, please? Because these are streams of light. And like in Greek terms, we'd say past, present, and future. But this isn't Greek. This is beyond earth realms. As he does magic with his hands, this is beyond the earth realms. So we're up in the higher density. I'm telling you about 3 golden paths. And they are the ones, like he would say, they are the energies you are working with. So when you look in what you would term your past, which is where you've been, and you see Radha and Krishna, and you see Olympus, and you see Grandma from Sirius, your celestial cosmic being, and you have many, from your perspective, doors of treasures to unlock, to go jump in again, and to remind yourself of these beautiful pools of light, is what he would call them. He's like, you can take all the characters and all the everything out of the scenery, the set, and just get into the energy of it, and to understand that you are a happy, buoyant, a bright spirit, very brilliant, and you're just sparks of light, honey. You're like fireworks that never quit working. He's like, all of these things I'm describing, all of these bells and whistles, is in your energy field. So it's a new way of, a new perspective that I'm integrating into my thinking process, because that's where perspective comes from. That, and I think I maybe draw a picture of it to get more information or get it better into my paradigm. And he says, well, you understand the fourth dimension is impending upon, seeping into, and eventually crushing down into your world. And that is when the golden light hits you, when permission is granted and sanctions are lifted. Sanctions. He's like, well, yeah, it's naval, military, naval speak. Oh my God. Oh my God, chills. I heard, what, princess? The queen, they just changed the guard at the palace to the navy. And people are, there's rumors, like it's been 400 years since they've changed the guards at the palace to the navy. And that means what they said, it meant war. But 400 years, we've been at war plenty. So I don't know what it means, but you kind of just blew my mind. And so I will work on these perspectives, these, where I've been, where I'm going, and the golden stream of light, and understanding that as the flux capacitor, to put it all in one, basically, to make it simpler and easier to digest, to put it all in one, and to see that vision. Now I can see the flux capacitor. Hermes kind of opened his robe or whatever, in the sense that to show me his heart, and in the heart I see the flux capacitor, but it's changing into a pyramid, like a double pyramid. It's like the outline of it is twice. It's not just one pyramid, it's two, but they're over each other, and two hearts beat as one.